Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to All Elite Morro, where the best talk wrestling. I'm going to laugh at that every week from now. Ron the Analyst, a quiet day for wrestling news with nothing to talk about. Like, I actually couldn't keep up with shit going on this week. This week was absolutely insane. There was just so much happening, and I got tricked. I got tricked into watching NXT again for the last time. I'm never getting tricked again. I'm never getting tricked again. And I got tricked into watching TNA again. I'm never going to watch it again. Jesus, I didn't even watch all of TNA. We'll get into that when the time comes. Holy moly. Show Me the Money. Ronan wants his residuals, we'll call it, for coming up to catchphrase, we're the best at talk wrestling. David Ayer says, looking forward to the 3-hour episode. Like, I actually texted Shane and the boys earlier. I was like, lads, this could be like 15 hours long. There's just so much happened. I don't even know like what to trim, what to talk about. Like the Seth Rollins shit, I just watched it. I just watched the Takeshita Zack Sabre Jr. match. And like I was working till 6. I just literally, I don't even know if the slide thing that I do here with the little pictures on the side is up to date, because I did all the technical stuff in the space of 10 minutes there because I was watching the Seth Rollins thing and I was watching the Takeshita match, and I haven't seen the rest of King of Pro Wrestling. I haven't seen the rest of Raw. What a crazy... Like the NXT TNA show was 6 days ago. That feels like it's about 15 years ago. There's been so much wrestling since then. Maybe this is why the ratings are in shit, because the market is just outrageously oversaturated. And that's why WWE want to get TNA a TV deal. They want to oversaturate the market. Wrestling show fan responses on the Instagram today. OTT Invasion in Drogheda, top class. Jay versus Callum was an easy 5 stars. First live show for me, loved it. That's from Polo Dungale. It's Irish. I can't really pronounce it, I think. I'm just going to call you Polo. Aaron, I met Aaron up at OTT in Drogheda on Saturday. Great old chats before the show, middle of the show, and after the show. Great to actually meet someone, IRL as they say. Great show. I'm actually going to do a full review of that show because it was fucking awesome. Looks like Polo loved it as well. That main event, we'll be talking about that. Oshin Max says Cena versus Styles was a beautiful love letter to the art of professional wrestling. We're leading off with that match today. Ronan says wrestling fans might be eating good over the next few months. Yeah, there's just so much shit happening. Then Ronan also said, looking forward to the show. Need to pick me up after the hurling. So me and Ronan are from the same hurling club here in Kilkenny. Seen Ronan down doing the data analytics on the sideline yesterday. We lost by 2 points. The county semi-final in what can only be described as utterly heartbreaking circumstances. Like an absolute, I don't want to call it a robbery. I don't know what to call it. So I obviously had to go and drink 10 pints last night to drown in my sorrows, which hampered my ability. Well, even if I didn't drink the 10 pints last night, I had TNA watched at that stage. I had I still wouldn't have caught up on Raw today, and I still wouldn't have caught up on King of Pro Wrestling today because I was working anyway. Kieran Dunphy says, not a robbery. And I said to you, Mr. Dunphy, go fuck yourself. Disallowed goal 3 minutes into injury time that should never have been disallowed. The TV screen don't lie. We should have won by a pint. Oh, anyway, this isn't the hurling fan hurling show. This is the wrestling fan wrestling show. I mean, like, I actually felt physical pain because also I had a lot of money on us in the bookies. Do you think we could get maybe, because I am a degenerate gambler, so I wonder, like, I could probably get some betting company to sponsor the stream. Wouldn't that be awesome? It wasn't a square ball. The man who hit the ball was outside the square. There was people in the square. But the guy who actually, when he connected with the ball, he was outside the square. Yeah, I had money on it. I also had money on us from March to win the whole thing. Was looking unlikely all year with the amount of injuries we picked up, and then lads started to get back fit at what I thought was the right time, so I put money on us again on Sunday morning. Then we lost. I was in great physical distress and emotional, so I went and drowned my sorrows with a lot of pints last night. Dunphy's in here mounting off in the chat. I'm changing my OTT review so that a certain Edward Stewart Tate doesn't get a good review anymore. Let's get into Cena versus Styles. Weirdest match in professional wrestling history, and also totally fucking awesome. I really enjoyed this match. Just bizarre. But, like, now this is the type of match that can only be done under this exact set of circumstances. Can you kick Dunphy out? I could probably ban him from chatting. I should, can I? Ooh, I nearly added him as a moderator. Do not want to. I can put user in timeout. I'm giving him a 1 minute timeout. Kieran Dunphy has been timed now for 1 minute. Watch the viewer count increase dramatically now that, you know, Dunphy can't talk shit. I actually didn't mean to delete those messages. How did that happen? I just put them in timeout. Maybe that's an added feature. Cena and Styles, Crown Jewel, Perth, west coast of Australia. Looked like a pretty... He's on the ball step. Dunphy's on the ball step. Looked like a pretty jam-packed crowd. Everyone was wearing Cena merch. That guy must have made a fucking ton of cash. A ton of cash. Last night. Not last night. Whatever it was. In the morning time there. The other day. He must have made a ton of cash on merch alone. But this type of match, like I said, that can only happen, I think, under this exact set of circumstances. Two near retirement veterans with a kind of a fairly deep history, despite the fact this is only their third ever singles match or fourth? Maybe their fourth. But you know, the SummerSlam 2016 match, I loved that match. That was awesome. The rematch at the following Royal Rumble was awesome. I don't think this was a patch on those two, but then again, it's a totally different match. This is like, the only thing I can kind of liken it to is like, I saw the Rolling Stones about 15 years ago on a reunion tour type thing. It's actually more than 15 years ago. It's like 20 something years ago. And it was like a really crowd pleasing set list. And that's what this was. This was just a mad crowd pleasing set list from two guys who have serious cachet with the fan base. You know, the fan base, like, you can see the crowd in the background there, just Cena shirts everywhere. The AJ intro by Cena was brilliant, awesome. Ronan, yet. Aaron says felt like it worked so well because of the chemistry to have together. Definitely, there's such great chemistry. Oshin says what I also couldn't help notice during that match was the only wrestler whose move was mentioned by name on commentary was the Walls of Jericho. Yes, because they said the name of Angel's Wings and stuff, but they didn't mention Christopher Daniels. Who else? What else did Cena? There was a couple of others that Cena did that AJ did of guys that aren't in WWE, and theirs weren't mentioned. But Jericho, the Walls of Jericho, was mentioned. I believe Jericho's potential return to WWE isn't guaranteed. There is what I believe to be a slim chance, that he could end up staying in AEW. Please God, no. That doesn't suit him. It doesn't work for AEW. It doesn't work for Jericho. And it doesn't work for WWE. The best thing all around here for everyone involved is that actually Jericho goes back to WWE. I believe that wholeheartedly. There's nothing left for him to do in AEW, and with the style of in-ring wrestling that AEW fans demand, Jericho just can't do that anymore. Well, he can come over he could have a match like this Cena and Styles match, no problem. He can still do that kind of stuff. And that's not like, I'm not trying to downplay how good I thought this Cena Styles match was. I thought this was like just such a good time. It was like a very heartwarming match. But then again, you know, like this type of match like that, you could crucify saying it was finisher spam, but like that was the point of it. It was just two old guys who still have a little bit left in the tank, but are way past their peak, obviously, going out there and just having the most fun match they could do. There was no fucking around. They just went out there and had a really fun match. David Mean says, WrestlePalooza made me hate wrestling. This match reminded me why I love it. Smiling ear to ear watching it. That's exactly how I felt. I was smiling ear to ear watching it. I actually couldn't believe what I was seeing. My favourite spot, and like you guys know, if you're watching All Elite Morro, you know I'm not a fan of The Undertaker. I don't think The Undertaker is anywhere near as good as he's made out to be. But I think my favourite spot of the match was when AJ went for the 5-knuckle shuffle and Cena did the Undertaker spot into the chokeslam. I was like, that was brilliant. I loved it so much. Battlecross says, I was stumped to why AJ did the Deadeye, only to realise that Frankie Kazarian has a similar finisher. Yeah, that was it took me like a full 90 seconds, 2 minutes to be like, yes, Frankie Kazarian, yeah. Because I was thinking before that, when is the Frankie Kazarian shout out coming? And that was obviously it. But yeah, just like, who was it there? David Mean said it there, smiling ear to ear watching it. Only thing that was missing was a Samoa Joe walkaway spot. Yeah, that would have been fucking awesome. That would have been awesome. Yeah, like Joe is one of Styles' best ever opponents, in my opinion, as well. It's mad for the length of time that they were in TNA together. They didn't utilize that pairing enough back in the day. But yeah, the rest of the show, I just didn't think was that good. I thought the opener, while the opener got over big with the crowd, the Roman Reigns match did nothing for me. Like, we're just going back to this bloodline thing again. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, and I've said this numerous times about Triple H, is in his booking or storytelling or whatever you want to call it, the guy can't, like, he's not able to conclude or climax a storyline or an idea. So it just never ends. And like, what's this going to be now? Is this year, like, are we going to go into year 6 of the Bloodline saga? Fucking 6 years. That's longer than the NWO were around, basically. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I couldn't, like, this whole shit with Jay and Jimmy again. We've seen this. We've seen how it ended up with one of the worst WrestleMania matches you'll ever see. I'm just perplexed that they're going back to this well again of some form of like OG bloodline internal strife shit again. Ron Deanna says, seen AJ go red when they mentioned TNA and Bullet Club, just set up what was to come. Yeah, fact. See, like, right, Cena, what's Cena have left? 2 dates? 2 matches? We don't know what his last match is going to be. This should have been his last match, to be perfectly honest. This is the one, they should have done this exact match in DC for his last match. I don't think they could top this. So I suspect it's going to be Dom and somebody else. I don't think Dom is going to be his last match. Unless they do Dom twice, but that would feel like kind of silly. You don't need to do it twice. Ronan says they have a big Roman problem. He's destroyed everyone, so they don't know what to do with him now. Yeah, in fact, they have no idea what to do with Roman. And it's like, you can't put him in title pictures because he's never around. and they did, just the longest reign ever. Not the longest reign ever, but legit one of the 5 longest reigns in company history. So what, like, they have no idea what to do with Roman. I also think Roman as well, backstage wise, is extremely selective as to who he works with. Very protective, so that probably limits options as well. And Brian Dunn says, so crazy, it's literally the exact same story. Like, the exact same story. There's not even new wrinkles or adding to it. It's just the exact same story. The Stephanie Vaquer match against Tiffany was decent. Kind of just run of the mill, nothing happening. Tiffany's not, like, I think Tiffany has great potential, but she's not quite at that level yet to be able to do that length of a match under those circumstances. The Cody set match, like, Cody actually needs to come up with a new finisher because he's killed the Crossroads. The Crossroads, he did the Avalanche Crossroads and Seth kicked out at 2. You know what I mean? Like, Cody, you've murdered your own finisher. Like, it was already kind of half murder because they just, he needed 57 of them to beat Roman Reigns and stuff. But even there was matches there where he was against other guys who were not at the Roman level, and he was taking 3 Crossroads to beat them. I'm like, some people you can just beat with 1 Crossroads. Protect your fucking finisher. David Mean says, I'm currently catching up on stuff he missed in 2022. I totally agree that they were rehashing all Bloodline stories. So if you're rewatching or catching up on 2022 stuff, you're probably watching the same storyline play out twice. One in hindsight and one in real time. Exactly the same. It's crazy. Could they do Cena Dom as the last match? Have Cena win, do a Grand Slam and hand over the title like Sting? They could definitely do that. And it might be something interesting for the Intercontinental title going into January. I actually think Cena should win his last match like Sting did. Crossroads might just be weaker than the yes brain. It, like, he's killed the move. And then Seth doing that. Look, that coast to coast headbutt was without doubt the coolest thing Seth Rollins has done in fucking years. But I think he injured himself on it, and I think that's why the shit went down on Raw tonight. Dev Mean says, yes, it's like the same show. It's mad, like rehashing the Bloodline stuff, except now it just doesn't feel as important because it's much further down the card. Build for AEW WrestleDream, which is coming up next Saturday, I believe, the 18th, 5 days time. When we put this up last week, it was 3 matches. And we kind of predicted a lot of these last week that weren't named yet. Some of them we didn't. So we got Darby and Mox in the I Quit match. Hangman and Samoa Joe. Hook that shit to my veins. I cannot wait for that. Chris Statlander versus Timeless Tony Storm. We had that last week, or we kind of, at least if it wasn't on the screen, it was one of the ones we had predicted. Aaron Reynolds says the Rollins headbutt spot was insane. It was fucking cool. Ronan, I'd said Danielson is kicking himself he didn't do coast to coast headbutt first. And Cottle Cross says Rollins was seen wearing a sling today. If they try and work us with another fake Rollins injury, I'm going to lose my shit. We figured it out the first time. Although the first time it was one of the early All Elite Morros, on the very first ones. I did do a whole segment about how WWE had just built their main event scene around Rollins, and now he's injured, and it turns out he wasn't injured. But by the next week, we had said, a lot of you guys in the chat as well, we'd all said, well, the injury's clearly a work at this stage. But I don't know if they're going to do that so close together, and that it seemed to be potential shoulder injury stemming from the absolutely, utterly insane spot of the coast-to-coast headbutt, which, I love the spot, but, it's a fucking insane move to try. And it appears he may have injured himself. So we get Statlander and Timeless Tony Storm. I really look forward to that match. I think they've done a great job building that one. One of the better builds they've done. Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks, and the winners receive 500,000 cash prize, just playing into the fact the Brock Bucks storyline. The Brock Bucks storyline has gotten over with me. I didn't like it at first, but it's gotten over with me. And then this is excellent booking, right? Fletcher versus Briscoe for the AEW TNT Championship. Briscoe coming off a huge win against someone like MJF and then transitioning straight into a TNT title match makes the TNT title feel super important. Because realistically, if you beat MJF, you could go for the world title. You know, that's the level he's at on the roster. But going after it makes Kyle feel important and it makes TNT title feel important. Love this booking. Rowan says if he is out injured, he won't want to go overseas as champion ever again. Yeah, he fucked himself before overseas, didn't he? Where was that? Saudi? No, it was before that. And then we get that. We predicted that this last week. Brodito versus Okada and Takeshita for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It was in Dublin he got injured. Yes. Forgot that. I forgot where it was. Hopefully Bandito isn't injured because he's another guy with a potential shoulder injury. He got hurt in Arena Mexico against Hechicero, actually. So maybe fucking Brodito might have to drop the titles to Okada and Takeshita here, which, you know, Okada and Takeshita, you're tag team champions. Not the worst thing in the world. I fucking love this booking too. Jamie Hayter versus Tekla. That's been in the works from Tekla's debut, and with Hayter's injury out, you know, Tekla transitioned into the Queen Aminata stuff, which was fantastic. Helped get her over real quick on the roster. And then we get the Hurt Syndicate versus The Demand. Worst name of fucking wrestling. I don't know. This match feels like it needs a stip. We've seen it twice already, and one already had a stip. So kind of feels like it needs a stip. Maybe that'll be announced Wednesday. Yeah, I think, looking at this card, right? Darby versus Mox is going to be fucking insane. Hangman Page versus Samoa Joe is literally the exact type of wrestling. I said it last week. I am the target audience. This is the exact type of wrestling I'm going to love. So I'm going to love that match. Statlander Timeless Tony Storm, I think that could be excellent. Bucks versus Jurassic Express, they proved a few years ago they had really good chemistry then. Let's see how Jack and Luchasaurus look after long layoffs, but the Bucks are still one of the best tag teams in the world. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, you just, like, those two guys are so fucking awesome. You know that match is going to be fantastic. Brodito versus the Don Callis family, Okada and Takeshita, that's obviously going to be class. I felt like in the tag match on TV, they held a lot back. Jamie Hayter versus Tekla will be good. And then, you know, the 6-man Hurt Syndicate versus The Demand doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Like, the last match on pay-per-view was good, and the TV match follow-up was good. But I feel like I've seen it. I don't need that match. I could have done something else there. Maybe a women's tag match, seeing as to have those titles coming in now. Maybe start a tournament or something, I don't know. But, like, yeah, that match itself doesn't do a whole lot for me. That's the only one, really. I'm iffy on Jurassic Express and the Bucks. And I'm very, very iffy on Hurt Syndicate and The Demand. Rest of the card, love the look of it. Definitely looking forward to this one. I think Joe and Paige it's just going to be a super hard-hitting main event. And I'm all here for that. El Chingo says, banger ending to Raw. We'll be getting to that. What the fuck will they do to make either of those guys quit? Yeah, what are they actually going to do? I think Darby's going to have to light Mox on fire, like legit, actually burn him alive to a crisp. OTT Invasion went to this on Saturday night. I drove to Drogheda. Fair old spin. But my God, it was totally worth it. Up and down the card, great matches, and headlined by an unbelievable main event. I mean, unbelievable main event. But the opener, Limo and Martin Steers, this was a tag team elimination match. Okay, so sorry, chat's coming in there. Rowan says Okada and Takeshita winning makes sense to go their tensions to the split in the feud. It does. They could do the split here now that Takeshita has what he wanted. Brian Dunn says, also, what does Willow have to do to make him to main card? I know. She's been living the pre-shows for so long. I think with Statlander's ascension, it's a good sign for Willow. She might just have to wait a little bit longer, unfortunately, despite the fact she's fucking awesome. So the opener of OTT Invasion in Drogheda, Limo and Martin Steers go over BDE, which this time was Big Bad Dirty Nicky and Young Dara, Keane Noonan and Luke Frettel, and Guillermo and Ilya Zarkov. Tag team, there was so much great stuff in this match. Martin Steers was just insane in the ring. He was like all over it. Big Bad Dirty Nicky and the Young Dara acting as his servant, manslave servant thing was hilarious. Big Bad Dirty Nicky just consistently one of the best comedic wrestlers in the world, but also a really good wrestler. I'm not trying to pigeonhole him as a comedy wrestler. He's just so fucking good at the comedy stuff. Keane Noonan and Luke Frettel, they look like they set up a singles match, hopefully for the anniversary show, because I'll be there. And Guillermo and Ilya Zarkov. I've seen Guillermo twice now in the space of a week, and that guy is pretty good. Ilya Zarkov's obviously very good as well. The first elimination is Keane Noonan and Luke Frettel eliminate Zarkov and Guillermo. And just playing back on kind of a building storyline between Keane and Luke. Luke then hit a beautiful lariat, took Keane Noonan's own tag team partner's head off, and Nicky capitalised for the pin. And then eventually Martin Steers and Limo eliminate BDE. Really good opener. Sky is the limit for Keane. Yeah, he's super talented. A lot of guys in this match have. Luke Frettel is another guy. The shape he's in at the moment. Then Hype Dogs defeat Machiavelli, Corvin, and the Golden Boy Santos tag team title match. Win by. I thought this match was really smart as well. Look, when they put Mecca and Corvin in the ring and they just started banging off each other like two very well built dudes, just smashing into each other, I was like, yes, this is what I'm here for. So that was an excellent match as well. And I thought it played beautifully into Corvin and Santos' character when they kind of realised that you could see a moment of realisation for Corvin. It's like, we ain't winning this match. So Corvin just went for the dick shot. He was like, we're not winning, but I'm not going to let these pin me. It felt very fitting with his character. Really fun match as well, and that the big man stuff between Mecca and Corvin was right up my street there. I really enjoyed that. Carlito defeats Carlito of Judgment Day, WWE fame, former multi-time Intercontinental Champion, US Champion as well probably, defeats Nathan Murphy forever with ES Tate in his corner. ES Tate was just fabulous in his corner here, choking Carlito every chance he got. Nathan played our big boots, but I think he's gone by Nathan Murphy forever now. Played the arsehole heel excellently here, and it just the match built to the match was built around Carlito being an old man, and they worked that in really well, and it worked into the finish in multiple ways. Carlito goes to the top and then decides against it, and he jumps off, goes back to the ground, and he does a move, and then Nathan Murphy says, well, I'm not an old man, I'll go to the top. And then he crashes and burns, misses, Carlito rolls out of the way. Then Tate gets the apple in the face. Beautiful. Carlito hits the backstabber, wins. Excellent. Like, so much fun that was. Carlito got a huge pop. It was fantastic. Then Lucia Lee defeats Raven Creed by DQ. After interference from Myla Grace. So Myla gets to pick the stipulation for her title shot against Raven Creed at the anniversary show. Really good match as well. It built so nicely, this one. It just kept building and building and building. And then the finish made perfect sense. So Myla Grace had accompanied Lucia Lee to the ring, and then she just takes Raven Creed's belt and smacks Lucia Lee with it to get Raven Creed DQ'd so she could pick the stipulation. And it appeared, I think she picked a stipulation whereby she can't be disqualified, but Raven Creed can be disqualified, and if Raven Creed gets disqualified, she loses the title, I think. Excellent match though. Raven Creed is fucking awesome, by the way, in case we didn't already know that. And then just before the interval, we get Big Damo defending the world title in the old Bruno Sammartino spot. So before the interval, Big Damo defeats TJ Charles. TJ Charles is a Dundalk guy performing in Drogheda. He got mega heat, kind of an unhinged character. I'd only seen him once before. He's really good in the ring. Damo's reign continues, just fucking beast. But TJ Charles played this so well in getting heat on Damo. And Demo, you know, a guy of Demo's size, it can be quite hard sometimes to be a babyface champion. But the two most recent matches I've seen, this one with TJ Charles, who attacks him right, like basically before the bell rings, takes him to the outside, you know, uses the post, uses everything in his repertoire to try and take Big Damo off the ground. I thought, you know, the match was just designed really well. And the one I saw the previous week against Big Bad Dirty Nicky, with Nicky using all sorts of underhanded tactics and using his partner, Bittersweet Josh, I thought both matches were designed excellently for Demo as a babyface champion. So yeah, I think really good match. Looking forward to seeing what Demo does at the anniversary show. I think they might have given us a little hint during the main event, but we'll get to that. So with the interval then, me and Aaron had the chats. Then we get an exceptional match. Match of Bullet Smith and Renzo Rose versus the Brixia Bonebreakers, I believe they're called. Italian tag team. Superb match this was. Match of Bullet Smith and Renzo Rose, like, I think they've had, like, I don't know, a maximum of 15 tag matches together. I'd say probably nowhere even near that. Maybe 10 tag team matches together. They're so slick as a tag team. They could go anywhere around Europe and be a top team today, despite the fact they've probably only worked 10 tag matches together. Now, I could be corrected on that, but they're extremely slick. And they get the win here, and it looks like they're going to be... Renzo gets on the mic afterwards, calls out Joe Cabrera, says he wants a title shot. They had helped what they call Hype Dogs earlier in the night. So it looks like we're getting, hopefully at the anniversary show, Hype Dogs versus Match of Bullet Smith and Renzo Rose, because that would be an exceptional tag match. That's a ticket selling match to me. Like that match alone would sell an anniversary show ticket to me more than anything. I think that match, like, Hype Dogs are awesome. Match of Bullet Smith and Renzo Rose, despite the fact they've had so few tag matches together, are just unbelievably slick together. I hope to stay together as a team for quite a while, because yeah, I think they could hit the road with that act as a tag team all over Europe. Bullet Smith, Aaron says Bullet Smith tagging with Maxer was invaluable. Just look at Bullet Smith now. Bullet Smith is like the best young wrestler in Ireland. He's right up there, like, you know what I mean? He's just, and having that run with Maxer for so long, and yeah, I'm sure he learned a lot, but he's awesome anyway. And the main event was for the No Limits title. You two guys here who might... Jay could be like MVP of OTT 2025. He's just been on a tear since start of the year. And just constantly defending this No Limits title. And he's been excellent. But Callum Black at the moment, Callum Black's been a very, 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 very good wrestler for years and years and years. There's something different with Matt. He is so locked in at the minute that he's found another level, despite the fact he was the match here is Jay is huge babyface within OTT. But this is in Callum Black's hometown, and Callum Black has been an arsehole heel, part of Joe's Killer Cartel all year, and they just put on one of those like really special matches where the second Callum Black came out, you knew this was going to be a banger, because the crowd went ballistic. It was like fucking Bret Hart in Canada in 97, and Jay is getting booed, and the match starts with dueling Callum Black and Jay chants. Jay had his pocket of supporters there, like he always will. And like, you know, Jay is fresh off a heel turn. Well, not fresh, over a year ago now, but he's been like the ultimate babyface for the last 15 months or more. But I thought I don't know if they called us in the ring or if they knew that was going to happen. But when Jay went after the knee, it was exceptional. Callum sold that knee for the rest of the match. And then the story of, which I thought was done exceptionally, when Corvin and Golden by Santos come out after the ref bump, and the ref bump was fucking awesome. They nailed it. Perfect ref bump. And Carvin and Santos come out to help Callum Black, and he sends them away. But obviously Jay doesn't see the part where he's sending them away, and then Jay does an unbelievable dive onto Carvin and Golden Boy Santos. And then Santos kind of goes to get involved again, and then Big Damo comes out and brawls to the back with Santos. So I'm wondering, is that the match we're getting with Big Damo at the anniversary show? Aaron says they're a proper big fight field. That's what I felt like, the dueling chance. And this match, this was like at least a 20-minute match, I would say. And the crowd never let up one bit. And Callum Black eventually gets the win, ends Jay's amazing run as the No Limits champion. Callum Black gets the win, and the place comes unglued. And I'm not joking. There was like, I would say the ovation was fucking 6 or 7 minutes long afterwards. Incredible. Great show. Delighted I drove up to Drogheda for it. Yeah, so there's a first full review. We've done tidbits in that, but yeah, excellent show. Delighted I drove up. Built a lot for, I wonder who Callum's going to be against. I wonder what Jay's going to do at the anniversary. But I think we're getting that tag match with Bulla and Renzo versus Hype Dogs, which would be amazing. So yeah, great show. Delighted I drove up to Drogheda. Cannot wait for the anniversary show. I think they have one more show before them in Sheriff Street next weekend, I think. And then it's the anniversary show. So yeah, well worth the spin to Drogheda. Jesus Christ, this match was fucking amazing today. So it was the only match I got to see off the card. Now I did see, so this is New Japan King of Pro Wrestling 2025. We have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and that is Takeshita. Look, I think we all predicted this, didn't we? We all predicted this. Aaron Randall says run it back in the stadium with a roll reverse be another banger. Fact. We'll do Callum Black first, Jay, again. Absolutely. I will sit through another 20 minutes of that. No problem whatsoever. Takeshita and Zack Sabre Jr., these guys have amazing chemistry. They've wrestled 3 times this year. Twice in the G1 and once again here for the title. And each match has been excellent, but I felt like this one topped the other 2. Maybe in the depths of the G1 where they have a lot of knocks picked up, a lot of miles on the clock. It was hard, but this was the match that I envisioned. Like, I liked the 2 G1 matches, but like they weren't, I wasn't like writing down as a potential, is this going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year? This one might be in my top 10 at the end of the year. I thought this match was exceptional. Other notable, yeah, this only happened a few hours ago. I literally watched that. I watched this eating my dinner tonight before watching the Rollins stuff. But yeah, Takeshita and Zack Sabre Jr., Takeshita's new world champion. And Hiroki Goto returned to challenge Takeshita afterwards. And I thought, oh, we've got our Tokyo Dome main event now, Takeshita and Hiroki Goto. But apparently they're doing that before the Tokyo Dome and January Wrestle Kingdom. So we still don't know who's what the Tokyo Dome main event is going to be. Who's going to be challenging Takeshita? So that's still a possibility. That it's Okada, as Colm says. Great show, but will Takeshita face Okada in the Tokyo Dome after Goto? It's still a possibility. We predicted it here maybe 3 weeks ago. I'd heard some rumours that maybe the political and backstage issues between Okada and New Japan have potentially been worked out. That was a very frosty relationship when Okada left. They really wanted to keep him, but they couldn't get the cash together. So yeah, it's a possibility we get Takeshita versus Okada still at the Tokyo Dome. I really hope that's the match. Roland says this was a banger. I love how Zack Sabre Jr. can soak up Stripe and roll it into a submission. Here, like, do you know, I'm taking my hat off. Do you know when we talk about Zack Sabre Jr., I think we need to have a conversation. About Zack Sabre Jr. I think he might be one of the very best in-ring talents of the last 25 years. Like, I mean, like, very, very high. Very, like, ridiculously high. Like, top 10, top 5 his body of work has grown to an extent now that it's utterly insane. The amount, just the sheer volume of incredible matches he's had against a ridiculously wide variety of opponents. I saw him have a fucking like a 3.5-star match with Bad Luck Fale. And let's be honest, who the fuck has a 3.5-star match with Bad Luck Fale? Nobody does. But Zack Sabre Jr. does it. Maybe, I don't know, it might be time to reevaluate Zack Sabre Jr.'s kind of standing within the world of professional wrestling, because this guy has been on a tear for so long. And he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. Roland says definitely, and he's so different to everyone else. There's nobody like this guy. Like Roland said, his transitioning from the striking battle into submission work is just so clean. It's incredible, and like everything has such a purpose. And his selling, he doesn't sell like anybody else either. He does, like, when he eats a strike, he doesn't do that ropey legged thing as such. He just does everything slightly different, which I think is, like, watch him sell the next time, particularly when he sells like a headshot. Just look at what he does. I can't explain it really how it's different. I just know that it is different. Maybe one of you can type into the chat next week, hey dumbass, this is how it's different, and then I'll steal your work, like I did with Ronan with the We're the Best Talk Wrestling. So Brian Dunn says the way he transitions between moves so smoothly is something I just don't see anyone else do. Nobody else does it like that. But also it feels like a struggle. Like, he makes submission wrestling feel like a real struggle again. He's just so unique. We should fucking cherish this guy. Cottle Crow says, is he a New Japan lifer? I hope so. The guy is a legit socialist. Like, he is a real socialist. And I don't think money is something that's particularly important to him. That's not important to him. It's probably a bit important to everybody, but I don't think he's like chasing the bag as such, and he legit loves New Japan. So yeah, I hope he's a lifer there. Rowan says wrestling feels legit in a Zack Sabre Jr. match. It does. It feels like you're watching something different than what we normally watch. Brian Dunn says he gets like a blank stare on his face. That's the headshot thing. Yeah, it's like, but it's not like, it doesn't feel, you know when you, like, someone takes a headshot in like WWE or AEW or whatever, they almost oversell or overact, where Zack Sabre Jr. just, the life drains out of his eyes. His eyes go dead. This blanks, and it's not like, but it's so, it's just like a more subtle version of what everyone else is doing. I just love it. Colin wants to see him in a match at Regal, son. Yes. I don't see how we'd get that match unless Regal's son gets released. Can you see that happening? Probably not. But yeah, he participated in the Continental Classic. I think he was supposed to win the Continental Classic. Not the Continental Classic. Cruiserweight Classic. Whatever that was, 7 or 8 years ago now. I think he was supposed to win it, and then he just wouldn't sign a contract. And if he didn't sign a contract then, when he wasn't on that much money, I can't see him doing it now when he's probably getting paid decent money in Japan. He's not getting paid what the top guys in American companies are getting paid, because New Japan just don't have that money. That's why Naito's not there. That's why Okada's not there. That's why Ospreay's not there. I thought there was a chance there if the Japanese economy had stayed strong and New Japan had stayed as a super strong promotion, that Will Ospreay never would have left. I think that might have been the case. Another thing Ronan says there, Colin says first, actually, he's very happy in Japan and loves the lifestyle. I can't see him leaving. That's how I feel about it as well. Yeah, I can't see him leaving. He loves the company. He legit loves the company. Ronan says he's so good in the mic too. Totally underrated on the mic. I absolutely agree with that. He just has such a cutting way with words. Fucking fantastic. Aaron says him and Ibushi were both pitched to win, but they didn't want to sign WWE deals, so TJP got it. Yeah. I wasn't sure about Ibushi, but I knew Zack Sabre Jr. was pitched to win it, and he wouldn't sign the deal. And look, Kota Ibushi at that time, New Japan wouldn't push Kota Ibushi to the top at that time either, because again, he wouldn't sign a deal with them. He just loved the freelance lifestyle. Actually, shout out to fucking Kota Ibushi, broke a femur bone. Like, and it was so innocuous. He just fell off the top rope he just fell off. He didn't like jump off, or he wasn't pushed off, or it wasn't like, he just fucking fell off Josh Alexander's shoulders, broke his femur. That's a horror injury. That's like a may never wrestle again injury. Kota Ibushi, like, you know, like, you could pick any year from, like, I don't know, like 2010 to 2020, any year. If you said 2014, Kota Ibushi's best wrestler in the world, I'm not going to argue. You could say that for any year for a full decade, maybe even more. You could probably stretch it to 2022 or something, 2021, and you might be able to go back to 07 or 08. Like, like, for at least a 10-year spell, Kota Ibushi, one of the very best wrestlers in the world, and it's just so sad to see him being so physically crocked. And it's really weird because that guy looked like, for years and years and years, he was never aging and he was never losing a step. And then it just all came together, all at the one time. And now it's mad because, like, he didn't even look like he was, like, his face was aging. He still looked like a 22-year-old when he was 40. And now all of a sudden it's just, but that guy wrestled an insanely hard style for 2 decades. And it just has to catch up. It just has to catch up. And now everything is just going on him. Ronan says breaking a femur is a serious injury, so hard to do. Yeah, I think it's like the least common bone in your body to break. Washington says it's gut-wrenching how cursed he's been the last few years with injuries. The shoulder injury really fucked him up. He just couldn't recover from it. Couldn't lift weights for like 18 months. Brian Dunn says watching that match while knowing he was about to get such a severe injury was kind of bizarre. Yes, it felt like a haunted match or something. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was a good idea to show it on TV, given that it was pre-taped. But I suppose, like, I think they wanted to show it just to show that nothing like untoward happened. It was just kind of a fucking freak thing. You know, if they had hid it, then you'd go, oh, why are they fucking hiding it? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they'll use it to get heat onto a Josh Alexander or Kenny Omega match. Why not? Like, Kota Ibushi would be all for that. Like, he wouldn't give a shit. He's already posting pictures of Tony Khan going to visit him in the hospital, which I thought was nice. Kota, and Colin says Kota's the unluckiest person with injuries. I remember him in the finals with Okada, dislocated his shoulder in the G1 final as well. That's where it really all started fucking going wrong from, because whatever happened with the shoulder dislocation, when I've dislocated both shoulders several times, in fact, and when you dislocate a shoulder, you can just have a clean dislocation and pop it back in, and you're kind of okay after a few weeks. Or you could tear shitloads of ligaments and mini muscles around it, and when that happens, recovery can be a fucking nightmare. My left shoulder has never recovered. I have serious issues trying to, like, get it above head level. I'll clean that camera a bit. So, like, that's where it all went. That's where it all started for Ibushi. It was that match at Okada, the G1 final, when he dislocated the shoulder in a fucking G1 final, in what was shaping up to be a fucking classic as well. It's where it started to go wrong with him in New Japan too. He blamed them for rushing him back. He did, yeah. He did. He was probably right, in fairness to him. And yeah, he rushed back that time. Him legging it into the cage to end it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. He was just launching himself at the outside of the cage, Aaron. That was so funny. And then you had people like idiots on there going, why wouldn't the babyface trying to get into the cage? Did you see Kota Ibushi just launching his body at the cage? That's fucking brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the King of Pro Wrestling. I believe Aaron Wolf debuted. I think Aaron Wolf is one of the reasons why so many tickets have been sold so far for the Tokyo Dome. It's well in excess of 20,000 now. The highest since COVID is like 27, 28, high 27,000s. They're gonna beat that. Aaron Wolf appears to have debuted, and I think this might be part of why Okada and New Japan have maybe, if the rumors are to be believed, kind of buried the bad blood, is that Aaron Wolf was actually apparently IRL friends with Okada, and Aaron Wolf, major star in Japan, Olympic judoka. Aaron Wolf, wanted to get into pro wrestling after he retired from judo, and he went to Okada, and Okada recommended that he go to New Japan. He debuted by, I believe, haven't seen it yet, judoing the shit out of House of Torture. So it looks like we're getting Evil versus Aaron Wolf at the Tokyo Dome, and I just hope Aaron Wolf beats him in 4 minutes with 76 judo throws. Hook that shit to my veins. He's been training for a number of months. That'll be his debut match. He's been training now for a number of months with, I think, Yuji Nagata. And Yuji Nagata is another guy who transitioned from amateur wrestling, so he knows that kind of stuff. Economas, has anyone figured out how Sonata transported with double costume change? I have no fucking idea. Is he using the doppelganger? What is happening? It's insane. If you haven't seen this, check out Sonata's entrances. I think it's like he's done it a few times now. It's like, I can't even describe it. He's not there, and then he's there, and then he's not there, and then he's there. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Colin, how is he doing it? Please. I need to fucking know. It's insane. Roland says Aaron Wolf needs to do a Brock Lesnar on Evil. Yeah, he should just go in, judo the shit out of him for anything between 4 and 10 minutes. Evil should get fuck all offense. I don't want to see Aaron Wolf selling for Evil. I want to see Aaron Wolf fuck Evil up. And when House of Torture inevitably get involved in the match, I want Aaron Wolf to no-sell it and then fuck them up. And then you make a pro wrestling star. The guy's already a megastar in Japan, but you make him a wrestling star in one night if he no-sells for all the dorks in the House of Torture. And he just throws them around the place. And it looks like the remnants of LIJ, Suji and Shingo and all them have maybe joined forces with the War Dogs. I'd seen a picture, or like a little quick clip of them shaking hands and hugging, and these new tag team guys, the guys that came back from Excursion, Victor and Yota Icy Baby, whatever they're calling them, Yuka Ice or whatever, the new tag champions. I seen them with Yota Tsuji in the ring doing their little hand gestures and stuff. So yeah, maybe LIJ have got some direction post Naito, and it will be with Finlay and Gabe Kidd. But Gabe Kidd lost to Yota Tsuji. Really look forward to that match. I heard that was good too. And now Seth Rollins, what the fuck happened? Like, what is going on here? This, Rollins says he should be like Steven Seagal with those Russian guys. Just throw them around the place for anything. I would take anything between 4 and 10 minutes. That's all it needs. Can someone explain to me what happened with Seth Rollins and the Set Riders? Because look, the spear out of Braun Breaker was fucking awesome. Is it a case where they're writing Seth Rollins off because he's legit injured? Is this a last minute pivot to cover for his injury? I can't, like, how can this be a face turn for Seth Rollins? People are saying it's a face turn, but he was still being a dick and he got wiped out by his guys. I just don't understand. I don't understand. What has this faction achieved since March? Has it, like, I don't think this faction has gotten over Bronson and Braun. I think they got themselves over. Like, did Seth do anything to help them get over? No. Colin says, I hate the House of Torture, but really miss the use of Dick Togo's name. Oshin says, this felt like a break glass in case of emergency pivot. It did feel like that, didn't it? Brian Dunn says, it was a cool angle at the most awkward moment possible. Yes. Like, it makes no sense right now. It has to be, as Oshin said, a break glass in a case of emergency. Ronan says, Rollins must be injured. Only way it makes sense. What? Is he going to drop the title, or are they going to have to vacate it? Why did Heyman go with the bronze? Should they not have turned face here? Like, it felt like a face turn from them, but it's been sold as a face turn for Rollins. It's weird. Like, I liked the angle. I thought it looked cool. And Braun Breaker looked like a fucking badass. As he always should. But it was just like what would you call it? Like the cognitive dissonance is off in this. It felt like a face turn for Braun Breaker, but it's actually a face turn for Seth Rollins. David Ayre says, is the faction over though? Is there a new leader like Punk or Lesnar? Lesnar's not going to be around enough to be any, what would you call it? To be able to give enough to help get the Bronsons over. So I would avoid Lesnar. He could be like an associate when he does show up or whatever. I would love if CM Punk turned heel and had his own faction. I think that at this stage, look, Punk's what, 4 or 5 years into 2021. He's in the 5th year of his comeback. I know he's had a lot of injuries. He's been out for a lot in between. But it doesn't feel like there's much left for CM Punk to do as a face right now. And I think if CM Punk's going to win the world title, it's more interesting for him to do it as a heel. And like, we haven't seen a heel CM Punk in well over 10 years. It's give us a heel Punk. Put him in as leader of this faction. Fuck it, like, he's such a good heel and we haven't had it in well over 10 years. Roland says, Rollins can't be face, he's terrible at it. Yes, he's so shit at it. And the crowd won't boo the bronze. Not against fucking Rollins, anyway. We're not on the horizon except for Saturday night's main event and the Survivor Series at the end of November. The timing of this is really weird, David Mean says. Yeah, I think it has to be the injury, David. It had to be it has to be a pivot. Colin says Triple H will be the new leader so you can get more camera time with 20-minute promos. The guy's out there again twice with Rollins and fucking Stephanie Vaquer. I'm just like, would you get off my fucking screen? I've had to watch you pretend to be a good wrestler since the fucking 90s. It's 2025 now, Triple H. I'm sick of looking at you. Fade into the back. He's out there putting the belt on people like Dana White because that's who he wants to be. I had arguments with people online the other day as well who were comparing him to Dana White. Like, well, Dana White books all the UFC matches and you know, all this kind of stuff. Dana White doesn't book shit. I've followed UFC since 2002. Dana White used to book a lot of UFC stuff. Dana White hasn't booked UFC fights in fucking years. His team does that. A lot of the time the media asks Dana White about stuff he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's literally a figurehead. Hunter Campbell's doing all that. And before Hunter Campbell, it was really Sean Shelby, who Sean Shelby might be the greatest booker of all time. Including professional wrestling bookers. That guy, as a matchmaker, was fucking phenomenal. Hunter Campbell's an okay matchmaker. He's pretty good, but I think he needs some help there because that company is massive and he's essentially doing the job on his own because Dana doesn't book anything. And wouldn't it be great if Triple H didn't book anything either? And he actually did the Dana White role. Punk is long overdue heel run, Ronan says, in agreement with Aaron. Yes, 100%. Yeah, it's like he's 5 years into his this latest run. He's been a babyface for the whole lot of it. Sorry, Joe Silva's who I'm thinking of as the greatest matchmaker booker of all time. Aaron Reynolds says Joe Silva as well. Yeah, Joe's retired, fucking hanging out in Hawaii, living a great life. Joe Silva got mega money back in 2017 when Endeavor bought UFC off Fertitas, and he said, fuck this, I'm out, I've got my bag. But Joe Silva's an unbelievable loss to the UFC. He was the best booker they've ever had. Sean Shelby was good too. Hunter Campbell's decent as well, but Dana was never the booker. Brian Dunn said, why did he go forward to forward with Fakir? Was so fucking weird. So fucking weird. So weird. I can't believe I watched that show. Well, I did enjoy the the Cena Styles match. Thought that was fantastic. What about who watched who else is gone? I have it up here somewhere. Right. I watched Bound for Glory. I didn't watch all of Bound for Glory, lads. I'm not going to lie. I watched Macklin and Frankie Kazarian. Fine. Short match. Okay. I skipped Tessa Blanchard and I can't remember the person she was wrestling. And then I watched what might possibly be the most infuriating fucking wrestling match you will ever see in your life. It was that fucking dumbass. Sorry, Ronan says Joe Silva looked at it like doing what boxing won't put on the fights fans want. Yeah, but also Joe Silva, not only that, like, because you could do that now. Like, there's loads of fights UFC could run that would be major crowd pleasers, but they don't seem to be able to get them done. Joe Silva had such a good relationship with the talent that when he pitched fights, he made them happen. And nobody was avoiding anybody at the time because everyone loved Joe Silva. And it seems to me that Shelby was pretty decent at that, and he got a lot of shit made. Hunter Campbell struggles more. Maybe doesn't have that relationship with the fighters that he can, I don't want to say manipulate them into it, but none of them seem to have what Joe Silva had in terms of the relationship of being able to put fights together, crowd pleasing fights. But also Joe Silva was so good at recognizing when two prospects should face each other and which two prospects will match up well to give a great match. In the last, like, it's why I know I'm speaking after a UFC card that in Brazil that had 10 finishes on it, but in general in recent times everything's gone to a decision. There's so many fucking matches going to a decision. Joe Silva seemed to understand matchups better than everyone else. Then Cottle Crow says, never seen a match of the year contender fall flat on its face like that X Division match. Oh, we'll get to that. But the double pin finish at the end of a 30 fucking minute call your shot gauntlet match. The match was 30 minutes and it finished with a fucking double pin. What kind of booking is this? What are we doing here, TNA? I turned it off. And I came back to it later on. And then I skipped the Clanny Jordan and the Hartwell match because I was forced to watch them wrestle on the TNA show or the NXT TNA show the other night. Clanny Jordan, I didn't have it in me. I skipped the Hardcore War match, and then I heard afterwards that was good. So I might go back and watch that. Leon Slater and Javon Evans were having such a fantastic match. Those two guys are just fucking awesome. And then it gets thrown into a fucking no contest because of nonsense. I was like, why was anybody watch TNA? And then, oh my God, we got the Hardys versus Team 3D in the tables match. Seriously. It's 2025. Bully Ray is trying to do Bloodline Saga shit. I can't, like, where do you start with this match? This match went on for 15 minutes. And, like, I couldn't understand what was happening because was Jeff Hardy not, like, Jeff Hardy's eliminated, but he's not eliminated? Like, obviously I'm not stupid, I can understand it, but just the match was dumb. And then Mike Santana and Trick Williams had a good main event. You could see streams of people leaving after the tables match. I'm like, why are you leaving after the fucking tables match? Like, you bought a ticket to watch that match. Did you think that match was going to be good? What I think there is, like, it was patently obvious that all four of those guys are just at retirement. Like, they need to retire for their own good. I think Shane says, think the Rollins thing is another ruse. I don't know. Are they going back to that again so soon? Like, he had the massive title on him, so sacrificing himself for now for some reason. Just to fuck with Punk again. Like, I mean, it could be a ruse. They could be trying to fucking, because it didn't work the last time, maybe pull it off this time. Aaron Reynolds says, at least TNA is staying on brand. Why do they do this? Like, the Mike Santana thing, it was a good match. He wins the title. But it only drove home the fact, like, there was fuck all of a crowd reaction. No one fuck all, but it wasn't Nowhere near what it would have been in his home state less than 2 months ago in front of the biggest crowd they ever had. That was the time to fucking do it. He fucked it up. At least TNA, yeah, that's Aaron. Oshin says, I found it a bit weird the finish Bully Ray was trying to act like Ric Flair against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. That, like, what was going on there? That was so crap. And that's his idea of storytelling. A bit of acting, do a bit of acting at the end. Like, Buddy Ray, you're not Ric Flair. Roland says Santana's daughter had a big show like Punch on Trick. Yeah. That main event was very good, I thought, in fairness. What the fuck were the Dudleys doing in the ring in 2025? I know. That's Brian Dunn, yeah, I know. Like, why, like? And then also, of course, because I previewed it last week, I decided, where's it gone now? I have some notes here. Not that one. Not that one. This one. I decided to watch that TNA NXT Showdown. Oh, I have it on here, actually. Did I skip it? Yeah. Look at this. This is the worst poster of all time as well. Because it was Invasion and they had the V there and as a throwback to the old Invasion. They just left the big W instead of the V. But the V, is that not supposed to be NXT like versus TNA? But now it's NXT with TNA. What's the W mean? Colin says, I believe Santana's from a rival state, so the crowd wasn't interested. I know. But they had him lose in front of his own state and then win in Boston or in Massachusetts, in Lowell, Massachusetts. Yet they had him lose in New York. Mind-boggling stuff. But yeah, I have my notes up here for that TNA NXT Showdown calamity, what I would say. That Hardy Boys match versus Dark State is legit. The Hardy Boys twice in a week have had two worst match of the year contenders. Like that Dark State match, particularly Osiris Griffin, felt bad for the guy. Went right from, if I was him, I was like, would the ground ever just swallow me up? And then the NXT versus TNA Women's Survivor Series style match. Like, you could fill a year's worth of old Botchamania episodes with the botches in that match. It was 23 minutes of botches, and look, a lot of these aren't that experienced yet. They found it so hard to get back on track. I was just like, what are we watching here? Then Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali had a fucking great match. In fairness, I was like, all right, okay, this was good. And then, yeah, the men's main event, I think, is exactly what we thought it would be last week. Moose gets the Survivors, though, along with Mike Santana. Pretty good match. A little bit long, but pretty good. Leon Slater's so good. I thought Ricky Sainz was good in this match. I thought Mike Santana was good in this match. Miles Bourne, like, they didn't need to eliminate him in 2 fucking minutes or whatever it was. Like, he was barely in there. Brian Dunn says the ghost clothesline into the ghost leg drop was insane in that tag match. That was so funny. Colin Nelligan says the Dudleys versus Hardys was so bad Spike Dudley's hair walked out of the building before it. Like, just if I bring up TNA or NXT again, will you please remind me why I don't watch them? Aaron Reynolds says, I actually enjoy watching NXT for a laugh. It's not a serious wrestling show. No, it's not. But like, my thing with NXT in particular is, I think we said this last week, but the Performance Center is such a shit venue. And everything looks crap in there. And a lot of these people shouldn't be on TV yet. They should be in indies, getting reps. Like, no joke. Everyone, basically, that I watched on the OTT show on Saturday night was as good or better than every single person, maybe with the exception of Mustafa Ali. But, like, I mean, everyone on the OTT show, which is supposedly an indie, was better than what I watched on that NXT TNA Showdown show. That was so, Mustafa Ali and Ethan Page is a good match. The men's 8-man tag match was good, like fine. It wasn't good, it was fine. It was inoffensive. But I had to watch Joe Hendry. Please, remind me next time I get this fucking stupid idea of watching NXT or TNA. Remind me of this week that I watched 2 of them in the same week. It drove me mad. I also watched an El Dandy versus El Satanico match from 1992. Hair versus hair. That was fucking awesome. I posted it on Twitter with a link to the free YouTube version of it. The quality of the sound is poor on it. That's obviously ported over from an old videotape. WWE ID. The Ronan said it's telling that everyone is walking away from WWE ID. Look, this WWE ID thing from the start was a fucking clusterfuck. A nightmare. All the talent, not all, but I think maybe all by now, of the talent that signed up to this WWE ID program are out of it now. They were getting paid fuck all anyway. But they were losing. They weren't getting booked for indie shows because I think indie promoters were worried that Gabe Sapolsky, who was kind of, I think, running the program or coordinating it, would be ringing them up with match finish and shit. So it actually was counterproductive for a lot of those WID people, signees. But also these remember they were bringing in the WID titles. Those tournaments just seem to be going on for months on end. Like, it started WrestleMania weekend, and I know for sure as of 2 weeks ago, one of them wasn't even finished yet. So it was the most nothing happening thing. But it was just their way of trying to get to indie talent before AEW. What was it even to begin with? I kept hearing about it, but I never understood what it was. That's Brian. So Brian, the WID thing was basically an affiliate program, basically for indie wrestlers, where they could have this WWE ID tag, where they were getting paid a little bit of money, and I don't know how much they were getting paid. It wasn't a huge amount. They were getting paid some money, but they would continue to work on the indies. And it was sold as if Gabe, acting on behalf of WWE, would help these people get bookings. There'd be a WWE ID title that would be defended on various indies. That GCW and all these other indies had signed up to it. That they were going to book these people, and just none of it ever happened. So Rowan says there's 2 people left in the women's division, and one of them is the champion. Just a disaster from the start. It was basically started. It started to start the year, but it really was supposed to kick into kind of gear around WrestleMania weekend with all the indies being in town and stuff. David Ayre says I watched about 5 hours of Stardom this week. Saya Kamatani is awesome. Going to watch a lot more going forward. David, I'm with you. I didn't get to watch as much. I obviously came on here gushing about Stardom last week. I got to watch a little bit, but I wasted time watching NXT and fucking TNA. That was probably 5 hours of my time this week, where I could have been watching Saya Kamatani or Suri or Shuri, whatever to pronounce it, or Azumi, or any one of them just have banger matches. Actually, I'm going to end this live stream soon, and I'm going to watch some Stardom. Yes, Brian, basically they could just put the logo before their name. That's exactly what it is. And I think what a lot of indies probably thought is, well, if we can put the WWE symbol on our poster and it might sell extra tickets, and it wasn't. And a lot of indies just stopped booking these people because I don't really know why they didn't book them as such. I got the feeling it was because they were worried about interference on how they would book these people and such. But yeah, that's been All Elite Morro, people. We had some ups and we had some downs today. Mainly the downs were NXT and TNA. The ups were the old gunslingers, the old legends, AJ Styles and John Cena, just, having a lovely, lovely professional wrestling match. WrestleDream shaping up lovely. Another up was OTT Invasion in Drogheda. Fantastic show. Well done to all involved there. Takeshita, that's an up for Takeshita, and Zack Sabre Jr. played his part magnificently. Let's see what happens with Rollins. I'm not a fan of him at all recently. I've called him dullard and all these other insults, but you don't want to see anyone get injured, especially if it was on the coolest thing he's done in 10 years. Colin says, I'm not watching American companies anymore. Every time they do something right, they do twice as much wrong, and I couldn't be arsed with the tribalism is paying the hole. I have Japanese progress in Irish wrestling. Yeah, that's fucking plenty. That is plenty. I'm still enjoying AEW for the most part. Yeah, I like AEW. Sometimes WWE will do something that captures my interest, but it's becoming rarer and rarer, particularly in the year of 2025. Loving what Stardom are doing at the minute. I've been up and down on New Japan all year, mainly down. It's not been a good year for them, but I am very hopeful with the introduction of Aaron Wolf. Takeshita now is top champion. Hopefully we get to see a rebuild. I love when you're in the midst of a rebuild that's going well. Cottle asked me thoughts on AEW's approach to intergender wrestling. In general, I'm not a huge fan of intergender wrestling, simply because from a sports perspective, you don't see it. So it's kind of like in tennis, in UFC, in golf even, they don't interact. And I thought, like, why would they interact in wrestling? However, the way AEW are doing it is as good as it can be done, I think. OTT do it brilliantly as well. A lot of indies do it brilliantly. But yeah, I like the way AEW are doing it, in the sense of, like, yeah, these are two badasses that are fighting. Who cares if they're a man or a woman? If you're going to do it, that's the way it should be done. I just think that's the way it should be done. But me personally, I wouldn't bother doing it. I just allow them to have their own divisions and do the division, like, give the divisions the correct amount of time. Big shout out to Diane, who's listening. Happy birthday, Diane. Huge happy birthday to Diane, and once again a congratulations from last week. Such great news, and happy birthday. It's younger you're looking. We have a new podcast out tomorrow. Me and Shane did wrestling comebacks. We had a great time talking about wrestling comebacks. Shane's first, well, not first, I suppose. And Column's in the chat saying happy birthday, Dan. Shane did kind of revived his Bizarre video series. That first one came out yesterday, and that was awesome. So, and I've seen the second one, and it looks great as well. That's coming out soon. So, the new podcast tomorrow. You have Total Extreme Morrow on Wednesday. It could possibly be a double episode. Could be a 2-month epic double episode. We'll see. I haven't decided if I'm going to release it as a double episode or just a single. That's coming Wednesday, lunchtime. And yeah, loads of stuff happening on the channel. And Aaron Reynolds says, in fairness, Raven Creed would batter most of us. That she would. She was in that intergender ladder match there a few months ago, where she tagged with Jay against Pipe Dogs and was it Red Zone Bullet or her team? And that was awesome. No, it wasn't. It was Callum Black. Oh, I can't remember. I'm getting tired. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this has been All Elite Morro. We're the best. Talk wrestling. We're the best. Talk wrestling.